Hello, I'm Becky Siegel,
And I'm Denise Rosenberg.
and we are mentors with the Wise Woman program at St. Paul Catholic Church in Pensacola, Florida. Proverbs 14:1 says, "A wise woman builds her home, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down." In this presentation, our focus is not on building a house, but in making your house a home. There are different areas to address in making your house a home. There is the physical, which is your decor and all your belongings, and the spiritual, a reflection of Christ-like, God-centered home. Both of these areas contribute to an atmosphere of peace, love, and harmony. Isaiah 32:18 says, "My people will live in peaceful dwelling places, in secure homes, in undisturbed places of rest."
Our homes are much more than physical structures. They're places where we feel safe, a step back from the outside world where we are most comfortable. We invest so much in them over the years. It's no wonder that we become increasingly attached to them. A couple's home decor typically reflects the taste and style of both spouses. One of our mentors shared her story that early in her marriage, when she and her husband had dual incomes and no children, they hired an interior designer to give them some direction in their new home. They were the recipients of hand-me-down furniture, but now wanted some help in making their new home inviting and comfortable. The designer, not knowing their tastes, asked if they had received china for their wedding. They had, and showed him a dinner plate. He used the design and colors of the dinner plate as the inspiration for the color palette on their walls, drapes, and carpeting in the living and dining rooms. After samples of these rooms were approved, they focused on the family room. The designer recommended that this room reflect the husband's personality and that he should feel especially comfortable in this room. My friend was impressed with the designer's wisdom. He not only wanted a nice-looking design, but he also wanted it to be pleasing to and reflective of both of them. Now, several of us know her husband and realize that he is not the shy, introverted type. So the designer chose a fabric for the drapes that works well with the original palette, and the vibrant print was something her husband especially liked. In addition to the drapes, they ordered a special chair and ottoman, which has served her husband well through a number of tumultuous football, basketball, and baseball seasons, not to mention Downton Abbey. The point of this story is not to encourage you to hire a designer, but rather that your home should reflect the taste and personality of both of you. Everyone's taste is different, and all that matters is that you are both content and comfortable.
Today, minimalistic decorating and decluttering are very popular. Organizational gurus have guided the masses in getting rid of superfluous stuff in their lives. Homeowners and designers have gotten rid of unnecessary furniture and accessories. This has resulted in a calming, wonderful effect for the home. What is interesting is that minimalism is actually a practice with Christian roots. We have been cautioned in the Bible about the excess of material possessions. In Matthew 19:21, Jesus said to the young man who asked to follow him, "If you seek perfection, go sell all your belongings and give them to the poor. You will then have treasure in heaven. Then come back and follow me." St. Ignatius, in his spiritual exercises, explains, "We should not prefer health to sickness, riches to poverty, honor to dishonor, or a long life to a short one. Our one desire and choice should be what is more conducive to the end for which we are created. In other words, our desires should only be what gets us to heaven. St. Francis de Sales simply states, external lack of order reflects internal lack of order. Clutter and disorganization can cause chaos, and a messy home can be unsettling. The first step in improving a cluttered home is to assess the contents. Many of us have more than we need, more than we can handle. If you have accumulated too much, it's time to throw away or donate the excess. And this includes toys. Get your children involved. Let them help choose what toy they no longer play with. Teach them to allow some other child to love their toy. Schedule a pickup by St. Vincent de Paul Society. They'll be happy to take away your clutter. Or you can take all your unwanted items to their business on West DeSoto Street. Ladies, if it doesn't bring you joy, then get rid of it. Your home will also benefit with a plan for cleanliness and order, but make it simple. Don't expect perfection. Identify responsibilities that need to be done and how frequently to do them. Communicate with your staff, your children, and your husband. They'll let you know if your expectations are realistic. Teach older children to pick up after themselves. Denise, share your thoughts on this.
I think it's important to model the behavior you want your family members to copy. Time is one of those things that's important to all of us. When my children were small, it was my daughter's responsibility to set the table for dinner every night. And I would get so aggravated when it wasn't done on time. I would nag and I would call, and sometimes I'd wind up doing it myself, which of course sent entirely the wrong message, that if she didn't do it, someone else would, most likely Mom. What I learned is that when I said, I need the table set by 5:30 because we eat dinner at 6, then she was able to organize her time to do it when it was convenient for her. She could do it as soon as she came home from school, or in the middle of her homework, or at 5 o'clock. Didn't matter. The bottom line was, I wasn't saying my time, or chore in this case, was more important than hers. And that she didn't need to drop what she was doing immediately and do what I wanted. She could do it at her convenience as long as she met my deadline. This mutual respect for each other's time worked out so much better for us. And when I respected her time, she respected mine.
We also suggest that you assign age-appropriate tasks. Start with small steps, and once mastered, add new ones. Teach older children to pick up after themselves. Children will follow your example, so model the behavior that you would like to see. Assist them when needed, and they will assist each other. Reinforce the process by expressing appreciation. A big, sweet thank you goes a long way. When my children, my two boys, each turned 16, they expected the golden ticket, their driver's license. However, I gifted them with 2 laundry baskets, one for darks and one for whites. For if they could operate a car, they could surely operate a washer and dryer. And this really came home to me because when my son was a freshman at University of Florida, he called me his first semester and he said, "Mom, you won't believe it. These people do not clean the filters of their dryers." He was an engineering student and he realized this costs extra money. If you leave the lint in there, not good. As for toddlers, don't worry about their mess. They just need a safe place to play with no expectation for tidiness or order. But you can make a game of pickup. It worked wonders for my grandson when my daughter-in-law and son sang, "Time to put your toys away, toys away, toys away. Time to put your toys away and go to bed."
another anecdote about a young couple who are both self-employed and have 3 children. They juggle work, community involvement, school, and after-school activities in addition to managing their home. There's always a lot going on at their house. One day, they realized that more organization was needed in their home. So they worked on a weekly plan with their children. It included the morning, after-school, and evening routines. It also included work assignments and general restrictions, such as no video games during the week and no hoverboards inside the house. But note, they did it with their children, so this was a collaborative effort with all of them. What impressed me is that a specific time was dedicated for each child to be in his or her room. Previously, the kids were roaming around the house at various times in the evening, and this resulted in no true quiet time, downtime, or private time. The new schedule has solved that chaotic scenario, and all are happily functioning within the parameters. There's now less stress in their home. This weekly plan started with small steps, and it continues to be reviewed and modified as needed. They've added responsibilities and increased some restrictions. Hoverboards are now outlawed both inside and outside the home. Why? Their daughter broke her wrist riding her board on the street.
Now let's reflect on the spiritual component of making your house a home. There are numerous times in the Bible where the importance of home life is noted. As a matter of fact, Jesus stayed home in Nazareth with Mary and Joseph for approximately 30 years. You will find other passages where Jesus performs miracles. In Luke 8:39, to the man with demons, he said, "Now go home and tell everyone what God has done for you." And in Mark 2:9, to the paralytic, he said, "Pick up your pallet and go home." Jesus asked both these men to go home and share the news of the miracles with their families and to spread good news. In a God-centered home, families witness their faith in thought, words, and actions. They pray together daily and often read scripture. Joshua 25:15. If it does not please you to serve the Lord, decide today whom you will serve. The gods your fathers served beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose country you are now dwelling. As for me and my household, we will serve the Lord.
In our American culture, we're bombarded with opportunities and stimuli that keep us informed, entertained, and distracted. We have many opportunities to make our lives easier and self-serving. Take time to consider and analyze what you do and what you don't do with your time. Be mindful of what you watch on TV, what you read, what you say, what you don't say, and your body language. Make sure your actions and activities are positive and that they don't compete with God and His message. Corinthians 14:33 says, God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. Jesus' love is unconditional. It was driven to action as demonstrated by His death on the cross. I think this love is beautifully expressed in Corinthians 13:4-7. It's a passage that you may have heard at weddings. As a matter of fact, it was read at my son's ceremony. It expresses the love that we should apply in our marriage, in our family, and in general. If we practice unconditional love, peace will ensue. So here it is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. It is not pompous. It is not inflated. It is not rude. It does not seek its own interests. It is not quick-tempered. It does not brood over injury. It does not rejoice over wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Even with unconditional love for each other, we will encounter challenges as a couple and as parents. I frequently remind my children that marriage is constant compromise, and it is love that makes those compromises bearable and possible. Fortunately, we have our church and scripture for guidance and direction. This passage from Deuteronomy 6:5-7 was included in my wedding ceremony. Therefore, you shall love the Lord our God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Take to heart these words which I enjoin on you today. Drill them into your children. Speak of them at home and abroad, whether you are busy or at rest. Bind them at your wrist as a sign, and let them be as a pendant on your forehead. Write them on the doorposts of your houses and on your gates. Just as the Israelites marked their doorposts, we can accomplish the same thing by having visual reminders in our homes, such as quotes from Scripture, crucifixes, and religious pictures.
Speaking of religious pictures, one of our mentors shared the story when she was a child. She had the classic picture of the guardian angel guarding the little boy and little girl as they walked across the rickety bridge. This picture was handed down to her children and is now enjoyed by her grandchildren. The guardian angel picture is the true superhero that guards her offspring, and this has given them comfort. Today in her home, in various rooms, there are crucifixes, as well as photos and pictures of the Blessed Mother. Her interior designer, who is Christian but not a Catholic, respectfully didn't question her about Jesus on the crucifix, but helped her place the crucifix, and she cherished that. Proverbs 17:22 reminds us that a joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. In a God-centered home, couples set their priorities with God first, then each other, and then the children. In a God-centered home, there is kindness, compassion, and forgiveness. Who doesn't appreciate a home that is quiet, peaceful, void of conflict, one that is a welcome retreat? Well, I can tell you that my home was this place that was far from peaceful. When my son was in preschool, we would have knockdown, drag-out fights every morning, and both of us were cross for the rest of the day. We did the whole thing of pick out your clothes the night before, lay it out on the bed, and in the morning he would try 3 or 4 other outfits on, and the room looked like a tornado had been there. I was at my wit's end. So I went to a child psychologist, and she designed a new routine for us. At night, Daniel would take his bath, put on his little t-shirt and jean shorts that he wore to school, and he would sleep in them. In the morning, he got up and voila! He was ready to have breakfast, brush his teeth, and catch the bus. Well, I was talking to a girlfriend, and she had a set of twin girls. One of the girls was a perfect twin. Her morning was smooth, but the other child just could not get out of bed, and the mother was at her wit's end too. So I told her about this tip. A couple weeks later, I get a call from her, and she said, "I can't believe this is working." She said, "When my girls get up, the perfect twin is still perfect, but the other girl just needed that little extra time to get going in the morning." She says, "Now all I have to do is comb their hair and we're out the door." What I found was most appalling with my own son was he didn't look any better if I dressed him in the morning than if he slept in his clothes. So if you're having a little stress in the morning, try this tip. It really works. Another way that you can influence the atmosphere of your home is in the way you communicate. Don't shout at your family members from 2 rooms away. Go and talk to them face to face and eye to eye. Refrain from yelling, nagging, and complaining. Focus on the positive things in your life. Be grateful, be calm, and practice joy. In summarizing our presentation, there are both physical and spiritual components in making your house a home. But with any new venture, we suggest taking little steps. Bit by bit, and through the process, you will be a witness to your faith. And now we'd like to close with this inspiring quote from Proverbs 24. By wisdom a house is built. Through understanding it is established. And through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures.
We know that every wise woman strives to make her house a home. Thank you for inviting us into your home today. If you have questions or comments, please contact us at awisewoman@stpaulcatholic.net.
Join us next month as we grow wiser together with another Wise Woman presentation titled The Parable of the Junk Drawer. This will offer you tips to help in situations where you have no control. The Parable of the Junk Drawer.